Hey everybody, it's Alex Dorr, speaker and trainer at Reality-Based Leadership. Today I'm going to talk about one of our most powerful tools to help, again, take the energy away from why we can't or why we shouldn't have to and focus on how we could. And again, when our teams are in drama, they're in a poor mental process. And for too long as leaders, we're trying to talk people through it. We're trying to bargain and plead and we're trying to state our case for why you should be able to do something. And our tools are the key to be able to get out of all of that conflict. That stuff really is igniting the ego. And we have great ego bypass tools or reality-based leadership tools to help you get to a better spot and a better part of people's brain to move forward. And this one today is called the thinking inside the box. Now, so often what happens is when we have competing priorities with someone and we're trying to achieve our goal and we believe they're just trying to shut it down, or we're getting into an either or situation where it's like, do you want us to do this or this? And all actions getting stopped. We're really in an ego stance there and we're really struggling to move forward. And so this is one of our most powerful tools that you can use both in facilitating dialogue with teams, or if you're about to approach someone and you're looking to get your goal that you're trying to achieve and understand their priorities as well. And so I wanted to give you guys an example of how this can work to be able to get us moving forward in a productive manner. Now, the key with thinking inside the box is that it focuses our team on succeeding in reality. A myth out there is that teams should think outside of the box when we need to create and problem solve and be innovative. And what happens is when we start thinking outside of the box, it always gets outside of our current reality where it's like, we want to improve something. We're like, we could build a whole new office to have more room, or we could buy $1 million worth of software to make our systems better. And all of those things are usually outside of the reality of the situation because we're under area constraints, we're under budget constraints. And so what we recommend is actually a tool called Thinking Inside the Box. A quick example that our team just used that I think you guys can use as your metaphor for situations you may have is that our founder came in and we knew that the market had changed and that we needed to produce more content for our marketing strategy. We needed to produce more digital content around her brand. And so that was the goal that we put up at the top here. More content to build brand. But when we started to brainstorm how we could do that, our team got really excited to think outside the box. Here's some things we said. We're like, we could hire a whole agency to do all of this for us. And then we got a pricing quote on that, and that was way out of anything we could afford at the moment. So we're like, wait a minute. We also said we could hire a full-time just video expert to do all of this for us. And again, that was kind of outside of the box. And secondly, we were like, we could build a whole studio inside our offices here. But then we realized we didn't have space to do all that and it wouldn't be very efficient and it was costly. And so we spent about 30 minutes or to an hour focusing outside the box. And where did that get us? An argument with reality that we weren't going to win. And so what we had to do was actually get ourselves inside of the box and look at what were some of our constraints given that goal in our situation. And so what we found out was when we started to think about what is our true reality, it was we needed to create more content to build the brand, but we had a couple things to think about. One was it had to be budget neutral. One thing we had to do is make sure that this made sense in our budget. That was the first thing, and apologies for writing sideways here. Now the second thing we realized is that our founder has a busy schedule, so we couldn't do this where it was like set at the office because she traveled a lot. And so there was some situations there, but the first thing we realized is it had to be into her schedule. It had to fit in her busy schedule. So we had a busy schedule. Now, this was very helpful because now we knew what our reality was because we knew the constraints. And then what we did is we boxed this in and we said, given our goal to build more content and some of our constraints here that we now have named, we as a team started looking at together reality and the situation at hand. And then in here we started to say, how could we make this happen given our goal and the constraints? And once this got put up there, innovation started happening. And this is the power of a good mental process. Is before this, there's nothing we could do that we could have actually implemented because it was outside the reality of the situation. But now we are operating in reality. And so what ended up happening was some amazing, amazing innovation. The first thing we thought about is we could buy our own camera or use our iPhones and just start recording Sai, is our founder's name, in the office. When she's on webinars, when she's talking to people in meetings, when she's discussing a rollout of some sort, we could grab content right there, and anything she says that's good, we already have the software in our computers, we could edit that, and then we could put it out on some of our platforms on social media. That was the first thing we could do. So we're like, dang, that was great. Once we're inside the box, that would be budget neutral, using the same phones we already have, and busy schedule, it would be recording her as she's living out her day. That's amazing. Another thing we could do is look for other people doing a similar model. And so our team started scanning the internet looking for people doing something similar, and we discovered someone actually had a video person follow them around every single day to speaking engagements, to meetings, to all these things, and would just be documenting, so to speak, all of the meetings. And we reached out to that videographer, and he had a big following himself, and we said, are any of your followers interested in a similar project to what you're doing? And it was amazing. In about 2 weeks, we had someone reach back out on Twitter and say, I'd be interested in doing that. And so we interviewed that guy, and he ended up being someone going to the LA School of Film and wanted an internship, and he was almost gonna work for free for us for 3 months, making a TV show of Sai, producing content. And the funny part about that, like I said, for free, that would have been budget neutral as an intern, and he was gonna follow Sai around in her busy schedule and just get all this content and then edit during breaks. And so we obviously ended up paying him, and eventually he joined the team. But it's amazing the innovation we had the moment we started thinking inside the box. Another thing that happened was one of our team members said, given that we're learning from the person we just hired, we could learn to edit in-house as well. So that was the third thing that came up, that we could learn on YouTube how to edit ourselves and keep it really simple. And then we could have a team member add another skill to their skill set to be able to keep it budget neutral because they're already on staff, and fit into the busy schedule even more because they could be in the office always editing. And so that was a third thing we implemented about building more content to achieve our goal. And by this time now, if you're following us, you might realize we now have a TV show. We now put out a bunch of content, and this whole system started by once we finally start to think inside the box instead of outside the box. And so I want you to think about times when you are struggling with your group, when there's competing priorities, which by the way is always with many projects, or when someone's into either or thinking. And what I mean by that is the ego really wants to focus on or, which is like, do you want us to achieve this goal? Do you want us to do it really fast? Or do you want us to do it with high quality? It's an or in there. It's like, you want us to do it really fast or give it to the customer with high quality. And most people focus on or to try and kind of blackmail. It's the sucker's choice. But what we want to do is cross that out. It's another way you can use it, and put and. Given we want to have great customer satisfaction and we want to do it very fast and with high quality, how could we do that and put and in there? And then start having the people brainstorm how they could. And so that's a second way to use the thinking inside the box tool. And this can be done just like this. Again, when you use our tools, if you're just talking to people about, guys, let's make this work, we can do it, that's not always going to work. So what I want you to do is not announce that you're doing a thinking inside the box tool. Everybody hold for a minute. I'm going to facilitate a tool I learned from Alex or Sai or one of the speakers. No, what you do is just naturally stand up and be like, I got to get this written down. It's hard for me to process it. And you just start writing it out as people talk about what's our agreed upon shared goal that we could both agree this is what we want to do together. And then I understand your priority here, that you have a busy schedule. This department, I understand you're really focused on being budget neutral. I love that. Given these are both of our goals and we have this higher shared goal, how could we make this happen? and then you just get on the side with the team and stare at it and just wait for them to start innovating. And it's beautiful what can happen. And then from there, we come up with some action steps moving forward. And that's the true power of a few ways to use thinking inside the box. And so you guys got this. Again, it takes a bit of courage. You will never do it perfectly. You'll screw it up, but only daily. But I promise if you start narrowing down people into a good mental process, even if there's some clunkiness to this, I promise you'll get the team closer to what you're trying to achieve, and it'll be with less drama. And that's the power of this tool. Thank you so much for watching this breakdown of one of our most powerful tools. You can find me at Alex M. Dorr on any social media platform. I'm always there to connect and help you guys through this. And as always, good luck, and let's keep ditching the drama.